Dramatic evening in the Premier League so far. So as you can see, Arsenal still top at 5 points clear, and they have got a game more than Manchester City just behind them in second place.
Mikel, in honesty, does that feel self-inflicted tonight?
Yeah, it's very tough to accept it, but the second half we didn't perform at any level in any aspect of the game at the standards that are required to win a game in the Premier League, and we paid the price.
Do you understand why? I mean, I know it's only a few minutes after the game.
There was too many things that went wrong. It was one after the other, basically, and we never got any dominance or control of the game. We scored the second one goal and it's still there. So it's better not to judge it. We are all too emotional about it, and it's not the moment to do it. It's a moment when you don't perform and you are at this level and expectations are where they are. Is now you have to take the hit because as well we deserve it.
I remember you saying after the Manchester United game, this is a moment for being close to the players, almost for looking after them. Would you reiterate that message now? Would you feel a bit differently tonight?
No, exactly the same. And there is not. It's very easy now when you're emotion to start to say things that can damage the team, and that's the ultimate and the worst decision that you can make, because everybody wants to do their best. Nobody questions that. Today we're at the level, at the races, and at the standards that are required. And when you do that, and you want to be at this level, you have to take the hit.
You also spoke after that Manchester United game about enjoying the situation, the position that you've worked really hard to get in. Do you still have a sense that the players aren't doing that right now? You're not enjoying the position you've earned?
But the enjoyment comes from moments of suffering as well. If you believe that you come to any ground in the Premier League and you don't have to go through tough periods, that's not the reality. So enjoyment comes as well from those moments when you're not at the best. Okay, get through and find a way to do that. And today, at the end, in the last minute, we pay the price.
And when you're talking about things missing, are you talking about application, effort, those sorts of, it's more quality, is it?
None of that. I never seen that in this team. There are many other aspects that you have to do, very basic things, simple things, much better than we've done if you want to really dominate the game and bring the margins that there should be between the two teams.
Yeah, talking of margins, are you concerned in general over the course of a few games now that when you're getting into tonight, the Brentford game, the Man United game, you're getting into these strong positions and then you're letting teams back in? Has that been going on for a little while now?
Depends, because against Leeds it didn't happen. But whatever it says or judge on, you have to accept it, because today we need to be very critical with ourselves. In the second half, it wasn't good enough, that's clear.
What about the form in general, Mikel? It's 2 wins and 7, starting with that Liverpool game. Is that a concern, or have you seen enough good bits in and around it, some of the cup performances, to not be too concerned?
Well, in the league, that's the numbers and that's the reality, that we haven't been as consistent as we've been in the first few months. You put the cups in between, that's a different story. So, whatever the stats say now, when you don't perform at the level that is required, you have to accept them.
How big a test is it ahead now for the whole club, but for you, for the team, to get this title challenge back on track? You're top, of course. Now
you have to stand up when they have a moment of difficulty, and we feel really frustrated with ourselves. You have the perfect game against the Spurs away to go and show how much we want it and how good we are. That's it. That's what we have to do. Talk on the pitch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, after that draw, this is where Arsenal are currently in the Premier League table, still top of the table, 5 points clear of Manchester City, but of course have played that game extra and they're still yet to face each other as well, which comes on to the next point of the remaining fixtures. We're finally at that stage of the season now where we can get all of the fixtures onto the same page. But in terms of what's to come compared to Manchester City, how do you see this?
It's all about football's all about timings. You play teams at certain times in the league. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can look down here at West Ham, the 18th in the league, but that might be their game that they're fighting for survival, or they might have won 5 on the trot and they're middle of the table and they're safe and they're on holiday. You just don't know with the timings of the games. Like, Aston Villa could already be in the top 4, cemented, might be in the Europa final, and they're done. Do you know what I mean? And that game's not as hard as what it looks on paper. So it's difficult. I always look at the next two. Arsenal have got Chelsea and Tottenham. They are 2 very difficult games. more so, no disrespect to Newcastle and Leeds, you take Newcastle and Leeds over Spurs and Chelsea to start with.
Yeah, and I think Merson is exactly right. And I know we're going to go on to another slide in a minute, but the big thing I always go off is past experiences and how teams finish. And we know how Manchester City finish. I know we're going to show something in a minute, but we know how they finish. We know how Pep Guardiola finishes, and this obviously shows what we're talking about now. And he is an absolute monster at finishing strong, Pep Guardiola. And that's what I go off. I go off experiences, and I keep mentioning about Man City being sat at home, but they'll be sat at home now looking at this going, yeah, this is a bit of us. So, yeah, we look at this here and how they finish seasons. It's unbelievable the way they do it. Yeah, this is just points won by both Arsenal and Manchester City of the last 4 Premier League seasons in the last 12 games. Of course, different teams. You can argue whether Manchester City have got the same team as what they've had the last couple of seasons. But when you look at that, you speak about the experience. They're going to need to get this momentum, aren't they? Because they don't want the same thing to happen where City are having such a strong end to the season and Arsenal can't keep up. Well,
I wouldn't want to be in Arsenal's shoes if it happens again. I mean, I was quite shocked with the interview of Arteta then. First time really I've seen him not majorly positive. Do you know what I mean? Usually he comes out, you know, we've done this, we've done that. And he's saying, oh, we deserve the hit, we deserve the hit. You know, instead of coming out and going, we're 5 points clear, as long as we don't get beat by Man City, we go same as them, we win the league. Wasn't like that. Even he was I was a bit worried with that interview. Even he's finding it now and he's thinking, wow, you can only do to the team so much. And when you're watching that, there's something missing. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something missing. And if I had to highlight something, I would highlight what Marnie did to the 3 lads. Madueke, Martinelli, Saka. He brings the ball down and he just literally turns away from them. First half or 7, 9, 10 games ago, they take the ball off him and they're up the pitch and it's a counter-attack. Something's missing. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes if they don't win the league this year, because if they ain't winning the league this year, you know, I remember Patrick Vieira saying before the Man United game when he was on with Roy Keane, he said now or never. And I'm starting to think now. I was very bullish about Arsenal winning the league. That's half scared me tonight. If you're playing in that dressing room tonight and you're looking ahead to the next couple of games, of course, you've got Northern and Derby coming up at the weekend. How important is the reaction now? It's important for leaders within the dressing room. I know there's a lot of leaders in that dressing room. Bukayo obviously come out and spoke. We've also got Gabriel, Saliba, obviously other guys behind the scenes now as well being injured. It's about leaders stepping forward, about leaders standing up strong, going in tomorrow, wiping the floor with it, going, right, that's gone now. The next one is the big one, which is a big one for Arsenal. It's absolutely massive. And then after that, there's another big one. So we're talking about 2 massive ones coming up for Arsenal now. And it's important they dust themselves down, they get themselves going, they look at where they went wrong tonight, because I think a lot's gone wrong tonight for Arsenal. And really put it to bed then for Sunday because, like I said, 2 real big games. Stadium at Molineux. But Alan Smith was watching for us in the commentary box. Just put into context how disappointing of a result that can be for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a pivotal moment, to be honest with you, Pete. A vital one, maybe a turning point. We'll wait and see. Obviously, it's in Manchester City's hands now, but having been 2 goals up against the team that's rock bottom on 9 points, just not good enough for a team that's hoping to win the title. And the way, you know, things unravelled at the end, Trossard just trying to waste time, and then David Raya panicking, coming out when he didn't need to come out. It doesn't bode well, really, for Arsenal being able to handle the pressure, I think.
When you're looking at this game with Arsenal, it didn't feel like they were feeling very comfortable throughout the whole game. You know, they scored 5 minutes into it with Bukayo Saka, and then you're thinking, can they take control at this point? Where do you think that was lacking in this game?
It's difficult to say. That having got off to such a great start, the perfect start, you're thinking, yeah, they're going to put the foot on the accelerator and take the game away from Wolves, but they almost stepped off it, allowed Wolves back into the game, gave them some confidence. And Arsenal did make it difficult for themselves. But, you know, at 2-0, you're thinking that it's home and hosed. And then Hugo Bueno produces something special. And all of a sudden, this place is alive again. And Arsenal get twitchy. You know, that there were clearly a lot of nerves within the camp. The whole situation seems to be getting the better of them. It did tonight. And, you know, going forward, hopefully that won't be the case going forward. But it doesn't bode well, Pete.
Yeah, Smartest Merce, You're right, mate.
Hi, Merson.
It's going to come on full blast now. You know, being bottle jobs, melting, you know, last few years. It's full on now. You know, drawn away at Brentford and then being 2 goals up against the worst team in the league. Let's not get away from that. They've got 10 points now. It's going to come on. How are they going to cope with this now?
Yeah, big job for Arteta, Merce, isn't it, now, to try and calm things down. He's really got to earn his money, I think, because, you know, what you saw out there at the final whistle with Jesus on the Wolves defender, losing his composure, rattled. Obviously, the whole Arsenal side were frustrated, but they've just got to settle down. We've spoken so often about them being the best team, the best squad in the league. But, you know, that counts for nothing if you haven't got that composure and ability to play and get results under pressure. And as you say, Merce, yeah, that word bottle will be used quite a bit in the next few days.
Smuds, just a quick one. Thinking about the other side of it now with Manchester City, what will they be feeling now, do you think? Will they be rubbing the lips? Will they be looking at it, going, this is us now, we can catch them?
Yeah, I think they will, Connor. Yeah, most definitely. They'll be thinking they can feel our breath on the shoulder. And with their experience, with Guardiola's experience, they'll be really fancying it now. Obviously, it's a big game against Newcastle for them at the weekend, but they can almost feel the nerves of the Arsenal team watching that tonight. I mean, they probably wouldn't have expected what we saw right at the end, but they saw it, and now they really would have gained confidence from it.
Smudge, just asking again, they've gone 2-0 up. When I'm watching the game, even when they go 1-0 up in 5 minutes, it seems like they're not playing to their full potential. It seems like they're playing in second gear, and it's like, well, we're not going to let in any goals, so 1-0's enough, and it's a dangerous score, and then they go 2-0 up. They've got to treat every game like a cup final, and it seems to me they're not at the moment, and it's just a bit lackadaisical.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they dominated possession in that first half, having gone a goal up, but they didn't create many chances, Merce, did they? And looking at the stats before the game, Manchester City had scored 16 more goals from open play than Arsenal, you know, the league leaders Arsenal. And I know we say it doesn't matter how you score, and Arsenal have been brilliant at set pieces, but 16 more goals from open play. And that tells you that Arsenal aren't creating so many as they should be, and they certainly didn't, having gone a goal up when you would have expected them to take charge and maybe get the second and get the third, but it's just not happening for them at the moment.
Alan, thank you very much. We'll let you go. Go and get yourself warm.
Cheers, Smudge.
Thanks, Pete. Cheers.
Just picking up on enough goals, which is what Alan was saying, where do you think that's coming from? Because when you are top of the table, you need to be at the top of all of these sort of statistics, don't you, to be able to win the Premier League?
Well, they're top of set plays, and that's the one that's kept them up there. But I said at half-time, it seems whatever they do, they fall over it. Seems to be a pattern. And we're talking during the game, me and Connor, I can't believe how many times they give away the ball so cheaply. It was so cheap, you know, instead of dictating the game 1-2-0 up and then keeping it and going across that way, drawing Wolves out. They give away, I don't think they put 3 or 4 passes together at too many stages in the second half. And when you're playing against, and I'm not going to get away, Wolves are not a great team. They've got 9 points before tonight. So, that, you know, they're not the team that we're expecting, you know, that we expect Arsenal to come back from 2-0 down and get a draw with Arsenal. They've got to be more patient. They're forcing it, but they're playing in second gear. And it reminds me when we won the league years ago and it was 1-0 to the Arsenal, it feels like that to me. It feels like we'll get a goal, we're all right now, we won't let in any more goals, it'll be solid. But it doesn't happen. We said that you're always going to get a chance in this football nowadays. And, you know, and fair play to the young kid. The young kid's goal's a good goal. You know, when you're a 19-year-old kid, you've come on for your debut and that ball bounces down, everything's going through your head. And for him to keep that ball like that, you know, it could become a Man City hero.
Well, extremely disappointed, obviously, with the result, with the way the game ended. But we have to blame ourselves. I think the performance in the second half didn't show anything close to the standards that are required in this league to win, and with the margins that I think should have existed today, especially in the manner that we played the first half. So it's a moment of disappointment. We all want to talk a lot about how we're feeling. It's not the moment to do that, because anything that we do has to be always and only with the intention to help the team. And right now, I think we have to swallow that frustration. When you are at this level and at the top, you need to take the hits, because today we deserve them as well, and move on as quick as possible, because on Sunday we have a big game coming up.
In that second half, we could see you gesturing to the players to just calm down, keep the ball. How do you explain that inability to do that, and what happened?
It was one after the other, to be fair. So it was a moment after another moment after another moment. So even though we scored the second goal, we never got gripped and dominance of the game. That's the reality. And that's some credit, obviously, to Wolf. And I don't want to underestimate that, but I think we played a big part on that. And as I said, there are very basic things, very simple things that today we did really wrong. And that's why we had the feeling, obviously, without really conceding much. But the moment is always the game open to anything that can happen.
John from Mirror.
Michael, does it raise question marks about the mentality within the team? Because out there tonight, it looked as if they were struggling under the pressure, under the expectation. You know, you're out there to go 7 points clear.
I think any question, any criticize, any opinion, you have to take it on the chin today. I mean, that's it. Any hit, any bullet, take it, because we didn't perform at the level that is required. So anything that anybody says can be right, because we didn't do what we had to do, and the way to do it is on that pitch on Sunday in a great opportunity that we had.
Are they strong enough to do that? Are they strong enough to come back?
We always done it, but you are as strong as to show it the next time you do it. To talk and say it here, it's simple, and we have to do it on the pitch.
Tom, Reach.
Michael, naturally there's going to be loads of hurt, around the players and yourself, and I'm sure the fans as well are going to be really. That word doubt is going to start to creep into their minds. What can you say to them to encourage them to keep that belief in the faith that it's going to be okay?
Well, the more they can be with the players, and I'm going to be the first one to be very close to them, because this is nothing to do with attitude or desire. It's completely the opposite. It's part of football. What it could have gone wrong today, it went wrong, because when you look the way we conceded the 2 goals as well, without really considering any other situations, is very rare, but it happened, and it happened for a reason, and we need to react to that.
Athletic.
Hi.
Just on the phrase you mentioned about things happening again and again, one moment after the other, that, I guess, emotional management of the game, is that something you see as being able to be fixed quite quickly, or is it just...
Yes, but if I ask them what we'll have to do now, what the game requires, they know it, but we weren't able to do it throughout the game, and it was in various sequences and a lot of times as well. So that's what we have to do better, but we didn't do it, and that's the reality.
Okay, we'll do the last couple. Hamza from the Times.
Rob Edwards mentioned that he knew and his team knew that the pressure would be on you guys. How do you feel knowing that other teams are trying to use that to weaponize against you?
Well, I mean, that's an obvious thing, no? If you are at the top and you have to win, you have to win and win and win. So that's nothing new. Everything will be like this from the first game when they play Arsenal.
Okay, finally one here.
I imagine a painful result. We saw a few frustrated players towards the end of the game as well. How do you pick up your players now and lift that morale going into what is such a big game on Sunday, but also the final 11 games of the season?
I think we need to go through the pain, and you need to go through that, looking in the mirror and understanding that what the game requires now and the next action is on Sunday. That's it. Anything that we say from here today, it's fine. But we need to keep all that in our tummies to show it on Sunday. That's what we have to do.
Okay, thanks everyone. Good night.
Yeah, thank you.
Is Bukayo okay?